Hi, welcome everyone to the MT Half Marathon. Why is it half? Because normally it's a week long and here it's half a week and online. So what is an MT Marathon? There's really three parts to it. There are lectures. Obviously, you've come to the first one. There's hands-on keyboard tutorials. So you'll be working on the command line and going through a website with guidance on how to do a few things in machine translation. And there's a whole variety of hackathon projects. We don't expect that everyone will come to everything. It's a choose your own adventure among these, and there's a variety of skill levels associated with each of the components. But the goal of an MT Marathon is it actually started as a summer school. So it's meant to support beginners as well as have experts who might be giving a lecture or organizing a hackathon project. We have two more lectures on machine translation topics, one from Unbabel with Ricardo, who you've just heard from, and Mark Fischel will be talking on Wednesday. Do show up on time. We're going to start at 10 o'clock for those. We always start events on the first day a little late to let people join, and those should be entertaining for everyone. We have these hands-on tutorials. So there's 4 of them. 2 of them are today, and then there's some scattered through Tuesday and Wednesday. These do assume that you're familiar with the command line and SSH and that sort of thing. But I'm also aware that there are people here who are more interested in the lectures. Nonetheless, we want everyone to try Marian, which is a translation toolkit. So I was just demoing the desktop app before we started, and that's something you can download, no command line required, and just try it on your local machine, and all the translations run locally. Hopefully some of the tutorials will feed in how to do that and how to improve upon it. So in terms of where to run computing, we've designed the tutorials such that in theory it can run on a powerful desktop or ideally on a Linux server. We have instructions. There are Slack channels for these. You can join the Slack channels and see the post and then ask for help in those channels. We haven't done any sort of train neural MT system because we're aware that can take a week, especially if you only have one GPU or something. So here we're focused more on adapting MT systems, fine-tuning, that sort of thing that can be done within an event that lasts 3 days. We have a limited amount of cloud machines. So currently there is 1 of them up, and we're watching to see how many people use it. But you can SSH into that using the login information that was emailed to most of you. There are hackathon projects. Please propose your own projects as well. So we have this link here. There's which just goes to the Google Doc that you also got in your email. There's a pitch session, 14:30 today. The tradition in MT Marathon is you can pitch projects all the way up until the end of the pitch session, or even some people have secret ones that start even after the beginning, and they just find people to work with while at the marathon. To help you organize these things, someone is a project leader, hopefully, and we think it's easiest if you create a Slack channel and put it in your project proposal. Then people can just join and talk about that project. But however you want to organize it from there, email lists, that sort of thing. There's a range of backgrounds that are suitable for participating in a project. It could be as simple as you know where some parallel corpora are and you want to poke your Tiedemann about getting it into Opus, or linguists, and also a variety of programming expertise is useful for this. So I was looking through the project proposals. There's a few different languages in there, Python, C++, even some assembly if you really want to do that. Just to give you a few examples of successful MT Marathon projects in the past, the Marian machine translation toolkit actually started at an MT Marathon. That thing you use to upload your submissions to the conference on machine translation, Ocelot, that handles all of the submit WMT system and give you some feedback, but not too much feedback so you don't overcheat at the scores. That all started at an MT Marathon project. There's also more researchy topics like let's just do document level translation for something. And honestly, I think a good project does not complete in time. So a lot of them are just a means to start collaborations with people you might not normally collaborate with. There's no funding here if you want to work with someone in a different country, or often with a big tech company and a university that could never get a funded project together. This is a place to do that. That said, it's also a good place to find partners for the Horizon Europe call that's due in April. And European Union funding, we're in Europe, and this is during Thanksgiving week. I'm not sure how many Americans came, but if you're interested, finding partners or starting collaborations for European funded projects is a thing you can also do at this event. But if you do that, please invite me to your jacuzzi. So this MT Marathon edition is organized by a project called User Focused Marian, and I'll say a bit more about that later. We're pushing Marian, but this is not necessarily a Marian user hackathon. You can do your own projects, you can work in your own toolkits, that's fine with us. I will give a bit of a pitch here. It's an efficient translation toolkit. It's in C++, and a lot of people are deploying this in production. It powers Microsoft Translator. It powers the e-translation service at the European Union. If you complain about a product in the EU using the online dispute resolution service, your content is translated using Marian powered by the e-translation service. What do I mean by speed? I ran an efficiency shared task, and on the y-axis here, you can see Comet scores, higher is better. That gives you an indication of quality. On the x-axis here, you see how many million words can you translate for $1. By a word, I mean I just ran WC, it's space separated tokens in the original unedited text. And you can get 150 million words translated per dollar. If you work that out in terms of dollars per character, it's about 0.1 cent to translate a million characters. Google will charge you $20. Microsoft will charge you $10. The Edinburgh submission here was powered by Marian. Nutrans has their own toolkit, and Tentrans actually has a fork of Marian. You can also do low latency. So we're talking about translating sentences in 20 milliseconds or less, which is actually pretty fast for a translation system and faster than all of the non-autoregressive papers that claim to have low latency. Huawei also participated in this task alongside Edinburgh's Marian submissions, and theirs was inspired by it. You'll have to ask them about their toolkit. So with that said, user-focused Marian is not the toolkit itself. It's an EU project that aims to improve the toolkit. And we're doing a few things that add more functionality that industry and users and feedback from the EU wanted. So the first one is supporting factors. This means you can have like a number associated with the word. You might say the part of speech with the token as well. And that can be useful for a few things, including doing terminology translation, where you have a terminology database and want to inject it and tell Marian to translate this word as this word with high probability. So we're using a paper from Amazon on how to do that, and that results in some nice terminology support in Marian. Another thing we're doing is if you have a whole bunch of different domains, and I know this is deployed in the EU, then you want to adapt the system on the fly by figuring out the source domain, finding some similar sentences, then fine-tuning the system and training it on those very similar source target pairs in order to make a slightly better translation, get a couple of blue points worth of improvement in some cases by adapting the system to the specific sentence that you're translating. And DGT has deployed this using a different toolkit, and we're adding support for Marian here. Also, I guess sort of self-referentially, we're working on documentation for Marian. There is additional developer docs if you go to the Marian website, as well as this event, obviously. Then GPU efficiency, and you've seen some of that. CPU efficiency is a different project, but we work on both. So a lot of the presentations you'll see in the event are related to this project, but like Comet, for instance, is not part of the project. Another point to make is it's really your event. If you want to propose a project that works on FairSeek or Sockeye or Neural Monkey or any of these other toolkits, we'll have to ask Facebook if it's called MetaSeek or something else now. That's fine with us. You can work on that project. We have some cloud computing that you might use even with your own toolkit. And you can propose something that doesn't even involve a translation toolkit. So name entity recognition, or just finding some parallel corpora and or creating them. All of these things are open. It's an event where you collaborate with people. And just because it's sponsored by a particular EU project doesn't mean you have to work for us for free. You should have received an email if you've registered. We ran a batch of people that registered last night, and about half an hour before the event started, it has that subject line, and it includes a whole bunch of links, including some of those that you saw on the first slide. Presumably, if you are here, you already found one of them by having a Zoom link. This includes your cloud username and password. So you should be able to use that to log in, see the cloud channel in Slack. And if you're having any trouble with that, you can contact us in the help desk channel. I know we have some participants from Iran and Syria. You are very much welcome here. Our cloud provider does not allow us to give you compute, unfortunately, but we have instructions and we'll help you run on your own machine. US sanctions are annoying sometimes. So with that, I will leave this support slide up. In the Slack, you can go to help desk and ask general questions. There's also targeted support at the two means of using compute, and tutorials generally have their own channel that you can join and ask questions specifically about their channel. We also encourage projects to make their own channel.